Paul Pogba is available on a free transfer and literally turned 32 a couple of days ago, which is still quite young. If you keep your body in good nick and you are a superstar Galactico player, maybe you can go at the highest level for another couple of years at least. Maybe. Especially if you're a player that perhaps relies more on your inherent quality rather than, I don't know, your pressing in your legs. Like Pogba is. Today I want to talk about football banning from doping. Of course, the two biggest stories regarding that in recent years are Paul Pogba, but of course Mudryk a little bit as well, which I want to also cover a bit. I know he's a Chelsea story, and when I speak about Chelsea stuff, it's on Football Therapy, not this channel, Football Yannick. Though because I'm speaking about doping at large and with, Paul Pogba mainly, I figured I'd just include him in this video. So I'm going to get into that. What's next for Pogba and what would happen to Mudryk should he be banned? We're going to get into it here. So as always, thank you for joining me. There are daily uploads here on this YouTube channel, Football Yannick. So I do recommend, or should I say warmly invite you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you do subscribe, I'd also recommend you hit the bell so you get notified in case there's some content you dig. And, if you want to support the content, just drop a like. It's super simple. So let's start off with Paul Pogba, World Cup winner, Scudetto winner, of course, with Juve, before Manchester United re-signed him for a record fee of £89 million, which was like 100 million euros, I guess, at the time. I'm not sure what the conversion rate is now. A lot of money. Of course, he signed for Jose Mourinho's Manchester United in 2016. Seen as a bit of a Galactico player in the Juve midfield, playing with, did he play with Vidal? Certainly next to... Hold on, let me just quickly check this. yeah. Vidal and Pirlo and Mascherano in that midfield. Wowee. I mean, people say in Serie A when you're playing for Juventus, which at the time they'd sort of rebuilt their sort of superstar behemoth status with, of course, Antonio Conte managing Juventus before he managed Italy, before he managed Chelsea, yada, yada, yada. He picked up Juve as a sort of consecutive mid-table finishes, Conte, and made them great again. Pogba was a big part of that. Of course, I think he basically went for free from Manchester United to Juventus and did really, really well there. Still really young at the time, of course, and got to demonstrate his immense quality next to the likes of Vidal and Pirlo and stuff like that. And he was one of the superstars in that midfield, despite being really, really young, which was incredibly exciting and made him a massive, high-profile acquisition for Manchester United and Jose Mourinho. Of course, we saw the hashtag #PogBack. And it never really worked for Pogba, did it, in terms of Manchester United? Granted, there was turbulence. Not sure he was a match made in heaven for Jose Mourinho. There's that, infamous video clip of them arguing on the training pitch. Though generally, I never really read into those so much because I'm sure loads of stuff happens on the training pitch, and just doesn't matter. In terms of recent performances, of course, he went to Juventus, never really played, got banned from football. In fact, I'm looking here, he played 108 minutes in the league in 22-23, and then he played 52 minutes in the league in the last season before the ban? No, maybe. I think he got banned, was it 18 months in all? Anyway, in terms of last time we've seen Pogba play football, remember he's a proper CM, yeah? So he's not necessarily an attacking midfielder, defensive midfielder. He's kind of box to box. He's got a really unique style. The way he's quite lanky, but he's strong. He's got long strides. He holds the ball up. He's obviously an amazing pass master, but he's got an absolute hammer of a shot on him as well. But I quite like how he's strong. He can hold the ball up, almost like a striker in the middle of the pitch. So for Man United in the 21-22 season, which I'm guessing still Ole, he only got one goal, but he got 9 assists in the league. So he got 10 goal involvements in the league in only 1,300 minutes, which for a central midfielder is elite. It's an elite return. Of course, in the 18-19 season, he got for a full season at Man United. He got 13 league goals from midfield and 9 assists. So 22 league goal involvements from central midfield. I mean, obviously he can do it. We've seen it. Before that, he did some pretty good seasons at Man United. He got 16 goal involvements, 9 previously. His last season at Juventus, he got 20 goal involvements, and I believe they won the Scudetto. So he's a central midfielder that can sort of really affect games, but also has a high level of production and productivity. Of course, he's a big character, which is a good thing, but he's been, heavily criticised before for, having different hairstyles, which of course is ridiculous. Is the meme about Graham Souness. I don't really know the inside story about his training habits or how good his application was, but he was a big character, and of course the World Cup win for France. There's video clips of him, doing team talks like a captain to Mbappe and crew, and being a really important figure, and in the midfield next to N'Golo Kante. You want to talk about a lovely midfield partnership. I think they had Matuidi balancing things out as well, but Pogba next to Kante is just lovely, isn't it? Because they're so different, aren't they? One's a long pass master, really tall and hammers shots. One's just runs everywhere interceptor, and he's really small. They're just different in every way, and they're not just physically, but in profile as well. Lovely old combination there. And yes, so he's very high profile, always in the spotlight. Earned a lot of money at Man United, but he was meant to go there and sort of dominate with Jose Mourinho. Just bowled up. So did Pep. The big La Liga rivalry, Barcelona, Real Madrid. Mourinho sort of point to prove after being, having this bad season with Chelsea after winning the league before. So Mourinho was still hot. Do you know what I mean? He had the fall off season. Yeah, when Chelsea finished 10th or wherever it was. But it was seen as just a bit of a disaster. The season before, Jose Mourinho had won the league. And this is 10 years ago. He's still youngish Mourinho. So it was very exciting. Guardiola with City, Mourinho with United. He bought Ibra. He bought Pogba. And it was meant to be this is Man United's time, That time never came, and Pogba probably never lived up to the hype, but he remains a really good player. He turned 32, like I said, just 2 or 3 days ago. And if he's really fit, he's certainly got, hasn't overcooked the minutes in his legs. If he is fully fit and available, where could he go? He was being linked to Manchester. Firstly, money. If he is still only really interested in money, he could go and play 4 years easy in the Saudi League and earn loads of money. Yeah, he could do that if he wanted to. There's not really much else to say about that. If he wants just to play for money, Saudi will take him absolutely. Of course, there's no transfer fee as well. He's a free transfer, and he'll get paid loads of money there. Similarly, he might like that Miami life, go play for Inter Miami, or LA Galaxy. I could see that as well. But staying in Europe, there's definitely Ligue 1 signs that will take him. Marseille has been loosely linked, but he'd have to just be right, I'm gonna play football again because I don't want to retire at 32 and I'm available, and I'm going to decide to just earn 100 to 200k a week rather than 400k a week plus. So I'm going to stay in Europe. I'm sure there's some Liga signs that would, even if they don't pay 100k a week, they could push up to it because it's Paul Pogba. And he's that's still a lot of money to just be earning, and Pogba can he's such a big, marketable asset that he could just make money from doing all sorts of other stuff if he so needs it. Do you know what I mean? There is that as well. I want to be back in the France side. He's only 32. Kante was still getting called up from the Saudi League. I know Kante's a really unique. Kante's a year older. Actually, Kante's about to turn 34, so he's basically 2 years older than Pogba. I don't know if Kante will still get called up for France, especially now they've got Camavinga, Chouameni, etc., etc. Look, Pogba, he could. Man City, he's a year and a bit younger than Kevin De Bruyne. And if Pep just gives them a 2-year deal and he wants someone who just can hit long shots and spray the ball around, and if they've won their court case, Man City, it's a bit of a fun signing, isn't it? I don't know. He can pass well, so Guardiola might like him. I'm not so sure. I saw, edits of him in a Newcastle United shirt. Of course, now they've won a trophy. Are Newcastle United going to go on and do really well? If they qualify for the Champions League, which they may do, maybe at the expense of my mob Chelsea, then the money they might not have to sell Isak, and who knows? Of course, Pogba being a free transfer, maybe they could pay his wages for a little bit at 200k a week, and that's a bit of fun as well, isn't it? Surely he goes somewhere. I mean, maybe it's more likely he goes to like MLS or Saudi, but it'll be very, very interesting to see him stay in Europe, especially at a Champions League side. I mean, he could also just bowl up at Fenerbahce. I mean, not with Mourinho there. I don't know if they're still mates, but Galatasaray or something. A little bit on Mykhailo Mudryk. Yeah, as time of recording, it's not been confirmed whether he has been banned. Of course, he's a lot younger than Pogba, and certainly when Pogba was found doping, and then got banned. Mudryk is 24 years old. Really? He's 24. It's relatively recently turned 24 as well. So he could, if he got an 18 months ban, not even be 26 yet. If he did get a ban reduced to 18 months, if he was banned at all. So he could still be entering his prime when the ban is lifted. Mudryk, of course, looked amazing for Shakhtar in a very specific system, like transitional football down the left channel. Arsenal really, really wanted him. Chelsea gazumped Arsenal. I mean, I'm not sure why. It was a bunch of fun. We remember when we were covering that. It was just funny, wasn't it? But it hasn't worked out. He certainly had moments. I think he had good moments under Pochettino. He had moments actually this season in the Conference League under Maresca where he looked like he was developing confidence. He scored a couple of amazing goals for Chelsea in his limited goals, and you've seen, something there. Lest we forget, he's Chelsea's number 10, Granted that number's fallen off since Eden Hazard, no disrespect to Pulisic and Willian, but yeah. I mean, I do think personally, and this is literally a speculation thing here, that when the new consortium that bought Chelsea, because of the geopolitical heat around the club and the sanctions and Abramovich, I wonder if they just bought the best young Ukrainian player to show that we are not a Russian oligarch. Essentially, do you know what I mean? And I don't know for sure. I'm not saying it's. I mean, I'm completely speculating, but. I'm not saying that's the reason they signed him, but maybe there's a bit of this. But I mean, they presented him at Stamford Bridge with a Ukrainian flag tied around. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot of that. So I wonder if that was a contributing factor. Not to denigrate Mudryk, he has got an incredible amount of raw ability, but severely undercooked in terms of how much he was coached. And of course, he's been called up for he's been found guilty of doping. The B sample reportedly hasn't come back yet. I find that very peculiar, how long it's been, personally. But to theorize, if the B sample does come back positive, and he is found guilty of doping and then will receive a ban, it could be 4 years from football, which would be very, very sad for the young man. Even if it is 4 years, that could get reduced by the Court of Arbitration of Sport, maybe to 2 years. If he says, "Look, I didn't knowingly take it," then maybe, maybe it gets reduced. But what will happen? Will Chelsea? I mean, what happens with Chelsea? Do they? I'm sure there's a clause where they stop paying his wages because he can't play football. And maybe they keep him as an asset. And they say, yeah, we'll just put you on ice for 2 years. We won't pay you. But, when you will still have 3 or 4 years left in your contract when the ban lifts. And if you're in fit and you're kept in shape, you can start playing football again. We'll pay you, or we might try and sell you, because you'll have years left in your contract. You're still a natural talent, and we don't want to just cut losses because, it's the base fee of £60 million they paid for him. So, it'd be very interesting. I think, actually, because he did so well at Shakhtar playing transitional football, that Mudryk would do really well in the Bundesliga, in the sort of RB Leipzig model, or even Bayern Munich. There were talks, of course, before he was banned, that he was wanted by a really, really high-profile Bundesliga club. And when you think high-profile, you're thinking, Bayern, maybe Leverkusen, although I'm not sure at the time. Dortmund, certainly RB Leipzig. Again, very, very transitional style of football and might suit him. Of course, we await the results of that, but you'd have to say it's incredibly intriguing. Very interested to see what happens there. But guys, let me know what you think. I like to speak about football, all things football here on the channel. So as always, I'll thank you for liking and subscribing to this channel, Football Yannick. I'll be very interested in reading your comments, and I hope to see you back here very soon. And enjoy the football. Yeah. All right. Peace.